So what's up everybody, this is going to be my Black Clover 321, 322 review. Both of these chapters are really good. This is prime Black Clover, honestly. I'm really liking so far what's happening with Lucifero, how the captains are getting destroyed, Yuno and Marileona teaming up, and they're realizing that they can't really do much. All these combined just making this fight with Lucifero that more amazing. So let's get into my Black Clover 321 and 322 review. First of all, if you like anime, manga reviews, discussion, spoilers, and theories, definitely hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, I'm rebuilding the channel back up from scratch due to Shueisha's abuse. I had to start all over again, unfortunately. So I really appreciate it if you press the like button, subscribe button, also comment on the video. It really helps out with the algorithm, and it also helps out past subscribers to find the channel again. So on to Black Clover 321. One thing I noticed about this chapter is we got to see who really is the strongest of the current cast at the moment. Basically, the chapter starts off and you get an inner dialogue with Seke. Seke's pretty much just saying it's all the king's fault for putting him in this situation where there was a gigantic horde of monsters, there was a mass of them all together, a legendary demon, and then the king of all monsters who just took out all the captains by itself. If I was in Seke's shoes, being an average knight, seeing Lucifero at the current power level that he's at is doing all this, imagine if he was fully manifested instead of just like halfway. It would be incredible to see what Lucifero could do at 100%. But Seke, if I was in his shoes, I don't blame him. I'll be doing the same thing. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I wanted to say I would be doing what Asta does, but I don't feel bad for Seke because if majority of the people were in the situation that Seke is in right now, they'll probably be pretty scared out of their mind. Seke basically came to the conclusion that he's going to die, and he was surprised that Yuno is actually standing up to Lucifero, which is something I want to talk about real quick. A lot of people were offended that I said that possibly Mimbosa was the reason why Yuno was able to walk around in Lucifero's gravity magic, but we see it's because of Yuno's star magic. If you think about it, stars have their own gravitational pull, so it makes sense that he can move around with star magic. But if he just had wind magic, most likely he wouldn't be able to move as much. Lucifero slapped the ground so hard that it just practically broke everything near it, basically looking like a meteorite just hit the ground. But it's funny because you see Seke's face like, whoa, this is beyond me. Yuno goes into spirit dive automatically, goes behind Lucifero, and he doesn't attack. However, it's just the overwhelming power of Lucifero that's not letting him cut him. If you think about it, it makes sense because even with Saint Stage, you possibly can't kill off the King of Devils like you can do other high tier and tree a cliff off level devil. But the King, Devil Royalty, I think there just has to be something else. It's not about reaching a stage of sainthood. It's about literally getting a divine being that is a saint. That's, I think, what can literally cut Lucifero at this point by using mana or magic. Unless, of course, you have anti-magic. However, you do see Marileona. She gets back up. She punches Lucifero, which itself is an amazing feat. This speaks volumes. She is on another level. It's funny how her family has to do with lions. This is very interesting because in lion society or just lion communities in general, women tend to be the hunters. So it's funny that Marileona is just outclassing Fagolion and just showing that she's just better than Fagolion in terms of offense and also taking hits. It just makes sense that the Vermilion family has connections to lions and why Marileona is so strong as she is. And I did say in the spoiler video that she was a captain, but she's not. She's obviously stronger than all the captains as of now. Like I said before, maybe Yami can possibly make her run for her money. Lucifero notices that her magic is stronger as the battle progresses. I wonder if she's gonna get strong enough magic to possibly hurt Lucifero. Yuno and Marileona team up, which is interesting because you never really thought this was gonna happen in the story. Also, it's funny how she calls Yuno kid number 2. So obviously she has a clear favorite for Asta, but she also considers Yuno at the same level as Asta. But with all this, you get back to Seke, and Seke is doing Seke things. He is freaking out. He figures out he can move now, and he wants to run away with Mimosa. To me, it's funny. I think after this arc, we might see another Seke. I think this is a huge character development moment for Seke because he went from being that person that nobody really cared about, he was just a shady person that was horrible, to being relevant again. Possibly Seke, if Tabata does him right, could end up being like Black Clover's version of Usopp. Hopefully hopefully he gets written well after this, because this is a huge character moment for Seke. Basically, Seke's trying to show off, talking a lot, asking if Mimosa wants to leave, and Mimosa is doing her best to heal Asta. Eventually, Mimosa gets annoyed of Seke and tells him to shut up for a minute. She realizes that she can't help Asta. She only healed him a very tiny bit, but her healing is probably the reason why he was able to get up and be conscious again versus him just being completely knocked out. It looks like Seke might have realized this before, but it was Asta she was trying to save, and in his mind, he's like, what's up with Asta? And you see a bunch of flashback, pretty much Seke in his village, how he was the strongest. I really enjoy this because it shows like a different side of him. Like, he is human. He's not just this demon lord being that we keep saying he is. He's just remembering of Asta. And one line that really got him, when they went to the Royal Magic entry exams, Asta said, hey, you got tough and made it this far too. Let's both give it our best. Mimosa accepted the fact that Asta is going to do what Asta is going to do. He's not going to run away. He's going to want to continue and fight. With that, you see Asta get back up saying thanks Mimosa. Mimosa is just saying, please Asta, don't go, please don't die. Asta just has his mind focused on fighting and defeating Lucifero, not only for Libe because Libe wants to, but also because of all of what Lucifero said. Lucifero represents everything that Asta is against. He's an arrogant royal that doesn't care much about the low tier. Asta, who's a peasant, his mom was killed by Lucifero. Libe is his brother, regardless if Asta knows or not. But this is such an impactful moment for me as a fan, and also I'm pretty sure fandom. It reminds us why we love Black Clover, because of this. Seke is trying to talk some sense to Asta, saying, hey, what's the point? You don't have any magic. It's completely useless. What's driving you? You're just a peasant. It's not like what you're gonna do is gonna matter much anyway. As he says this, Asta has the flashbacks of Lucifero basically stomping him to the ground. Everything that Seke has done somewhat, and pretty much majority of the Clover Kingdom that was looking down on Asta for being a peasant, is what Lucifero was doing to him. Treating him like trash, stomping him like a bug, saying he's useless, that everything's pointless, represents everything that Asta is against. Asta represents you can achieve your goals if you continue working hard on it. Eventually it will come. Doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter where you're from, just outwork the talents. Even though some people say this is toxic motivation, but in reality this is true. Eventually hard work would outdo talent if talent doesn't want to work. You see Seke, and he's saying, why didn't I try to get stronger? And I love this moment. Now on to Black Clover 322. This chapter was interesting. With the title, we kind of already assumed this was going to be another death flag for Not, because at this point, Not is just being teased that he's going to die. And I wonder if Tabata is actually going to go that route, having Not actually die and seeing Morgan. I think that would be a perfect ending for his character arc. That's in my opinion. Somehow he's able to communicate with Morgan in either the other world or him actually dying and him asking for forgiveness to Morgan. Well, knowing Morgan, he's probably going to forgive him and say, hey, you started a guild that helped a lot of people out. Even though you weren't there all the time, it still helped a lot of people. The beginning of the chapter is just Asta trying to get into the battlefield. Not realizes that Asta is the only person that can actually do anything against Lucifero. He knew that from the beginning, but it was quite clear in this battle. Asta, even though he's messed up, he continues to start moving forward. Not realizes that he's going to continue regardless, and he's our only hope. It's best if I go with him. So Not and Asta, they're on their way to the battlefield. Meanwhile, Mariona and Yuno are fighting against Lucifero, and they cannot do a single thing. It's wild because in my predictions, I kind of assumed that Mariona was going to get to a certain level that she could start like actually hurting Lucifero. It looks like there is a certain level, but because she is human, she can't reach it, and I will talk about that later because that's something what a Dramalik said. They're fighting Lucifero, and he's just pretty much blocking all their attacks like it's nothing. They're a bunch of flies to him, which literally he says that they're insects. Yuno in his head realizes that, hey, anything we do is not affecting him, but if we get touched by one of his attacks, we're goners. But they still have to fight regardless. As mentioned before, Lucifero is thinking that Mariona and Yuno are basically insects, and the only person that he should be worried about is Asta. This part is very interesting, and I kind of mentioned this in the spoiler videos. Lucifero yells at Adramalik to help him fight these two insects so that he can focus in finding Asta and finishing him off, because he knows that Asta is the only true threat to him because of the anti-magic. Adramalik says pretty much no. He's having too much fun watching Lucifero fight, which makes me to believe that devils in general, they don't follow Lucifero because he is the king. They follow him because he's powerful. They don't like him. A lot of people aren't loyal to their kings, but to have this level of disrespect to a king of your race is huge. Mariona says something interesting, which is already what I'm implying, is that he's not popular among the other devils, and it makes sense because at this point we've seen Magicla. She tried to go behind Lucifero's back and get into the real world. We've seen Adramalik doesn't really care to help Lucifero. He's just there being indifferent. So it makes me wonder if Adramalik in the future might end up being somewhat of a good guy. Like after Lucifero is defeated, what will happen to Adramalik? Are they actually going to fight him, or is he going to be mutual and just be like, hey, I don't want to kill anybody. I just want to be in the real world. In demonology, Andromeda is usually associated with fashion. So I wonder if he's going to fall in love with human fashion in the real world. Who knows? Andromeda says something interesting about Marileona, because Marileona seems like her body's breaking down with her magic. In my predictions, I was thinking that Marileona was going to possibly surpass her limits and her attacks are going to start actually hurting Lucifero, but it looks like she does have a limitation and she can't go over it because apparently she got too close to mana. What does that mean exactly? Because she doesn't have elemental spirit like her brother Fagolion, her getting close to mana, maybe she became too close to her element and her body just can't take it. I wonder if this will be explained more in the future. I have a feeling that the new upgrades and powers, at least in the power system, was going to have to do with what Andromeda says, that she's too close to mana. Human limitation, pretty much. Marileona is breaking down. Lucifero looks like he punched her. I'm not entirely sure if he did, because you do see one of Yuno's stars, so I don't know if Yuno actually teleport her, but let me know in the comments what you think happened in that panel, because it's a little bit confusing. However, Yuno did block Lucifero's attack somewhat with his sword, but it still sent him flying. However, after that, Lucifero is looking for Asta. He's wondering where he's at, and then you see Not's new devil union. And I said this in the spoilers, it's basically his donkey devil and his dog devil combined into one. If he had a third head, it would look like Cerberus. I think Not, he's going to be able to combine 3 of his devils into one devil union, so we're probably going to see him do like a couple of forms with the 3 other devils. So I'm pretty sure he's going to have like one final devil union, which is going to be all 4 of them at once. Asta is going in for the attack with his demon slash katana. Not's having his head that he wants to give up his life. Looks like Asta completely missed. Lucifero pretty much stops everything. Not's attack, Asta's attack. Lucifero is just on his way to attack Asta. Not jumps in the way. He has that death scene tease that Tabata likes to do. Hopefully at the end of this arc, Not starts warming up to the other Black Bulls. He starts realizing that his true family now is the Black Bulls, but I understand why Tabata is kind of teasing his death, because I think Asta is most likely going to take over Not's vice captain position. Maybe Not's decides to step down and Asta becomes vice captain, as Lucifero's about to punch Not for that one final hit to pretty much end Not. Yami steps in and say, hey, we haven't seen each other in a while. Don't you dare die on me. This is really epic because you see Yami literally block Lucifero's attack with a wooden sword. That is crazy. I know he's an arcane stage mage, also with William Vengeance, because it looks like this katana is made out of wood and is most likely from William's Vengeance war tree magic. It's just interesting for me to see him actually block Lucifero's punch when nobody could do that. But that's all I have to say about Black Clover 321 and 322. Both of these chapters are really hype. This is prime Black Clover. Let me know what you think about Yami stepping in at the last moment. Do you like how he blocked Lucifero's punch? What's up with all these death flags and death teases for Not? Do you think eventually at the end of the story, Not's actually going to see his brother in the spirit world? Do you think that Asta might be healed by William Vengeance? Do you think Yami's and William Vengeance's power have probably grown a little bit more and probably became more arcane because of the ritual? Or is it just they're not at full capacity at this moment? Who do you think really healed Yami? Do you think it was William Vengeance? Let me know what you think about these chapters. Like if you liked the video, comment, subscribe, and I'm out of here.